Hi, Wolfman. You're playing Celeste as well, I see.
So many people were playing this game. It was you couldn't escape it, basically.
For a couple of weeks, anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
It's died down. It's died down a bit, mostly because I don't think they have any plans to add or do anything with it.
yeah, basically. Again, though, I do it. You see, it's frustrating because I know how the game press works, and I was going to say I expect this to pop up a lot in end of the year awards, but
But they have such short memory spans.
if your game was released before September, a lot of sites don't remember that it was actually released that year. So, because
Unless you're like a really big name game.
yeah, like Zelda, for example. Like, people obviously remember that Zelda was released in March, but something like this, unfortunately, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. It got so many 9, 10s perfect scores that it's the kind of game that I would expect to see at least be a contender for that sort of thing, but I don't know.
It's very weird.
It's very weird. I think it deserves it, but
We'll see. Also, hi, Black Mirror.
She sees the mirror and she's just like, uh-oh.
is the flickering sprite your capture, or does that happen in the game?
I do not remember.
Okay, because I don't remember that happening there, but I'm not sure.
It doesn't particularly matter.
Oh no, he dropped his cell phone. You can skip it, by the way, and he'll still have it at the end of the...
It doesn't really matter.
Oh, those frickin' lights. Okay, so I couldn't...
Yeah, I thought you had to light them all up to like get a strawberry or something.
I thought that's how you got the heart. But I forget how you get the heart. I think it's just...
You have to take a sequence break with a key to skip
Oh,
forward.
yeah, you're right. Okay, I remember that now.
Which I'll show, because this is technically the fourth heart.
Yeah, but... yeah, so this is, I think, one of the better stages in the game because it still feels like the same kind of platformer, but it's more maze-like, and there's obviously a lot more kind of traversal and understanding how the area works. So it's simultaneously a lot easier in terms of the pure platforming that you have to do, but it's still...
Slightly.
But it's still... Well, once you get to the later parts, it gets... the more linear parts, it gets more difficult. But it allows you to kind of be challenged in a different way than a lot of the rest of the game does. In that, okay, you're more thinking about how do you get from one screen to another as opposed to what specific series of jumps do I need to do in order to
Yeah,
continue.
this gimmick looks really, really fun to mess around with.
Yeah. Like here, you have to be like, okay, how do I get through this? And the answer is to take that bubble there all the way to the right, and it'll travel you across the spikes. Basically, is what happens.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people seem to think that like, as you design, as like a certain type of game, excuse me, as a certain type of game is developed, people like seem to assume that that developers will run out of new things to do with game design. So you need new different types of games rather than more games in the same genre. I disagree. I mean, how many years has it been since Mario 1?
33.
33 years.
Jesus Christ. Damn.
If you want to go even longer, the first real platformer in the sense of what we know as today was
side-scrolling
Pitfall,
side-scrolling platformers. So I'm not gonna bring up the likes of Donkey Kong or Prince of
Pitfall.
Persia or Flashback or Pitfall. Well, Pitfall's kind of basic, but
it technically introduced screen-scrolling individual platforming challenges, etc.
Well, let's just
screen by screen.
30 years though. Damn. Like
Over 30.
The point is, we're still seeing games that are pulling off exciting new level designs and fresh stage gimmicks. Not necessarily always 100% original, but they manage to make themselves feel new, regardless. And I don't think that's ever going to end.
Yeah.
As long as you get talented, creative people making these kinds of games.
We're hitting the weird time where we're finally getting where the majority of people making games are ones who grew up with it.
Yeah.
That was when you saw the real big explosion of ideas with something like film.
Yeah, because it's, again, like, if you look at something like music, you'd think people have been making music for literally thousands of years, and there are how many different songs about topics of, like, love or death or whatever. It's like, oh, when are
Or
you gonna...
sex or drugs.
When are you gonna run out of ideas for love songs? The answer is never, because each person processes that idea in a different way. And as long as there are still people who fall in love, there will still be love songs, and chances are not all of them are going to be bad. So,
Just most of them.
yeah, considering modern pop, probably, yes. But it's kind of like those things where we'll probably, we'll probably get good platformers for as long as people are still interested in playing platformers.
That said, I would like to see more songs that aren't about that topic. Just to, mix it up a little.
That's still one of my, Sarah Bareilles, I think, it's like her record deal, the record company says, you need to write a love song. Why? Because you have to. And it's like, no, I don't. I'm not going to write you a love song because you asked for it, because you need one. I like soft rock music. Don't kill me. Okay, whatever. I am your mom. I listen to mom radio, and I don't feel bad about it. Look, you see, it's a shame that you're skipping the cassette challenges, because I actually really like those.
Well, if I know where they are, I try to show at least where they are so people can get them.
Yeah, but what's really cool is that they kind of do, oh god, what's the name of that stage in Galaxy?
Flip switch.
Yeah, where they time it with the music. So it's like on every couple of
beat block.
Yeah, beat block.
Oh yeah, beat block.
Yeah, so on every couple of beats, the platforms will change, and they have really neat 8-bit music for them. And it's actually, they try really hard to keep the music in sync all the time too, to the point where there sometimes will be a slight pause when the game dies, when you die, so that the song will still stay, so that the song will stay in beat with the programming of the blocks.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
The way Mario Galaxy handled that was that the blocks themselves would actually time themselves to the music.
Yeah. I think in this case the music's trying to time itself to the blocks, but it's the same overall effect. Pretty much. I also think that if you died in Mario Galaxy, they restarted the song too. But in Celeste, since they keep the song going, they needed a different solution.
A different way to do it.
Also, another thing that I do like is that in this stage, obviously, you light up the things as you go. If you die, the crystals stay lit, so you can plan your route a little bit better. That's one thing I generally like about games like these is that I'm not a fan of trap formers, as they're kind of called. It's like considered its own little mini genre, where the idea of the game is, oh, you're playing this game, so you're going to just fall into gotcha, basically, and it's like the whole point.
I want to be the guy.
Yeah, and I mean, oh yeah, that's how you're supposed to.
Yeah, secret passage.
Ooh, but if you look,
yeah, because I spent a ton of time looking for the key, and then I was like, oh wait, no, I can skip that door.
Yeah, here's the thing, if you look hard enough, you can see the little there's a sprite detail, so you can see the indent. Like, that's not a thing that I don't really like about games, is like, oh, you pressed on this specific patch of the ground, turns out that was a spike trap, and now you're dead. Games like 1001 Spikes like to do that, and I hate that game because of it.
Were you on YouTube during the I Want to Be the Guy craze?
Oh yes, I remember.
I want to be the bossy.
I remember I Want to Be the Guy. I remember there was a time where people thought that the Symphony of the Night monologue was from I Want to Be the Guy, actually, because there were kids my age who saw I Want to Be the Guy before they saw Symphony of the Night.
Why? How would anyone think anything was from I Want to Be the Guy when it's made of parts from other games?
Because I was
everything
like,
about that game is reused.
Because I was like 14 and dumb at the time, and I never owned a PlayStation. That's why.
Yeah, but surely you noticed the giant link.
Oh, damn it! No!
Well, I saw where I showed you where it is, so I technically don't need to get it. It doesn't really matter. So
your heart wasn't in it, Ryan.
I wasn't in the heart, you mean?
I
was convinced that there's something in this room there isn't.
Yeah, but here's the thing. At least I Want to Be the Guy has the benefit of actually being funny. Like, that's the kind of game where you watch other people play it, and it's actually amusing.
Yeah, but you can also say that for I Am Bread. So,
Like, I mean, there's something amusing about you jumping onto a random platform and then you doing the spinning kick just suddenly kills you out of nowhere. It's meaner when it's just like a random spike trap, you know? Ugh.
I never really saw the appeal. Just like I don't see the appeal of I Am Bread. I want to be the guy was certainly ahead of its time, though. It was on the games that are made specifically to be played by funny YouTubers bandwagon before that was even in vogue. So.
Oh man, I love that. I love that part of the stage though, where you actually.
What in the name of hell was that?
That's.
We're in hell.
It's actually it's this game. What I really like about it is that it does symbolism and shit like that without feeling pretentious. You know, like there's a section there where you control the monster, and so this, like, they talk about how this mirror kind of reflects your own insecurities and stuff like that. So, like, obviously those monsters are a reflection of Madeleine's personality and anxiety. So they
like,
hammer that home by having you
Having them
control it
attack.
and then having you kill Madeleine with it.
So, like, are the squiggly spikes supposed to be, like, intentionally similar to what they used for the panic attack?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And they bring more of that back in later stages too. And what's also genius about that section too is it also serves as a tutorial for what those monsters can and can't break through once you have to interact with them in the regular level, because they can break through rocks, but the magical light things they can't go through. So again, like, this game is just genius in many ways in how they do it.
Because we wouldn't have a game otherwise.
Don't you love it when you just argue with yourself over and over? Because that doesn't happen in real life.
This is partially what it's
Yeah.
like regarding a lot of these mental issues. You really are fighting with yourself about all these things.
Yeah, it can be rough.
Die, monster. You don't belong in this game.
Oh my gosh, Ryan, why are you referencing I Want to Be the Guy?
God damn it, Ted. What are you gonna think zeroing is from Maymay's?
Oh man, Ryan, gosh, they're pronounced memes. Jesus. Ugh. So yeah, the second half of the mirror level might be my favorite stage in the game, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, maybe you see, I'm having a hard time because I also really like the second half of level 6 too.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. So again, like, that's the monster earlier, and later on you'll have to, like, make it break blocks for you in order to continue and stuff like that.
Strawberry.
Yeah. You also at some points will need to jump on it for certain strawberries and things like that. Kind of like with Oshiro. I don't know if you need to do it in order to beat the A side, but you definitely need to do it.
don't.
You don't? Okay. But you definitely need to do it to beat the B side.
Oh wait, no, you do in one particular room.
So, I'm definitely getting some Lovecraft vibes from this tentacle thing.
Well,
Yep.
Probably intentional.
Probably intentional, yeah. It's, I would say, probably the most difficult regular... Well, I mean, this is arguably the only regular enemy in the game.
Oh.
Yeah, this is probably only the only arguable regular enemy in the game, I would say, which is interesting because you don't see a lot of platformers without enemies.
Something to kill.
Yeah. Which I think is good, because not every game needs that sort of thing, even. And this isn't treated like
this allows it to focus purely on the platforming challenges.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's far from the only platformer that's light on enemies. I think the original Prince of Persia had like one enemy once in a blue moon that you fought, and that was it.
That is true, but when most platformers kind of base, whether you like it or not, base themselves off of Super Mario Brothers, then you're kind of expected to have like a Goomba
something to
equivalent.
jump on that moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enemies and platformers are kind of just an extension of the obstacles, though.
Yeah, and...
Well, they were until people started trying to turn them into fucking beat-em-ups.
Not that can't work, but again, I'm thinking of games like the Rayman, the new Rayman platformers, and the enemies in those are usually either just something to swipe at while you go through, or something to jump on, so they're effectively just... You could replace a lot of them with springs and it wouldn't change an awful lot, you know?
Yeah.
And
in Klonoa, they were basically just extra jumps that were consumable.
Or something to throw at targets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, not that platformer, like, again, games like, I'd say, Kirby or whatever use their enemies in some ways that are a little bit more interesting. Or, like, I'd say even something like the 2D Sonics usually. Well, more the classic advanced ones tend to have enemies that are more than just boost fodder a lot of the time. Like, you do have to make a...
humming jumps, stepping stones.
Yeah. That is one thing to be... Okay, so, now I'm thinking about it. Like, would the adventure games, for example, be better games if the enemies weren't homing jump stepping stones, though? Because I feel like
there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to do more with them than just that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it got a bit ridiculous after a few games in the 3D series where you realized that there were specific enemies that existed only to be homing attacked into a chain.
Bubbles in episode 4.
They didn't really do anything.
At the same time, though, I'm trying to think of... I think that a lot of other enemy types where you have to really, in a 3D space, might... arguably slow the pace down too much for something like Sonic the Hedgehog, maybe. I don't know.
The problem, I suppose, when the game, when Adventure was first being made, was that they couldn't really have Sonic be doing the precise jumping thing without slowing down. Partly because of 3D precision issues, but also partly because Sonic Adventure's jump was just a really slow goddamn moon jump. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Like, I'm actually thinking about Sonic Adventure 2 right now, and they do have a couple of other enemies that aren't, like, for example, the Artificial Chaos, and they're more... Oh, you got crushed. It didn't look like you were in there, though, to be crushed, but whatever. They're more annoying than fun to, like, fight against, for example. Because
nothing says you have... I think the thing with, like, the Artificial Chaos is that you don't necessarily have to fight them.
You just have to avoid that first attack. Although if you do avoid that first attack, you're probably going to homing attack them anyway, because they're in your way.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that an enemy does not necessarily have to be defeated, in a sense.
That's also true. Like, I think we're kind of taught to, because we're bloodthirsty little monsters. But, but yeah, you don't have to defeat... It's actually a really hard mindset to kind of break yourself out of, like, okay, I can skip that guy. It's a habit that's hard to break in a lot of games.
It's just, there aren't a lot of games that encourage you not to fight things. Like, you get Undertale, which is really artsy fartsy, and then you get occasionally a game like, say, Silent Hill Downpour, which will tie its best ending to keeping your kill count low. So, but apart from that, Metal Gear Solid.
Well, that's one of those that's purely like almost for ranking in that sense.
Yeah, I know. You don't really get a lot of games that encourage you not to take out enemies in any way, passive or explicit.
Yeah, basically, unless sometimes like it's really obvious that you need to keep this guy alive to use them as a stepping stone later. Like some games will have challenges like that, but 9 times out of 10 you're never not encouraged to kill guys.
When there is that kind of gameplay mechanic, it's usually in an RPG like a Bethesda game, but only specific people, of course. You could murder like 12 fucking soldiers or vault cops, but this one guy at the end of the area, it's suddenly a moral choice whether or not you want to kill him.
I really, for example, again, like I was talking about Theo earlier, like one thing that I really like is, again, this game does symbolism in an interesting way where they're talking about what the temple makes them see. And for Theo, it's eyes kind of on him all the time, which, again, kind of ties into the, like him posting on Instagram or whatever the hell they call it in this game.
Instapics.
Instapics, where it's just like he kind of craves validation in a lot of ways. So... Like, all these eyes are staring at him. And the game never spells it out, and it's not important for you to pick that up. But, again, you can read between the lines. And I find, again, it's... Symbolism, I think, is kind of looked down upon a lot in games because it's usually so goddamn obvious, but they keep on rubbing it in your face anyway. Like, do you understand? We're being smart here.
Do you see?
Yeah.
So
Do you see?
I take it that he knows someone named Alex who has similar issues.
Yeah, that's his
We'll get
sister.
into Alex during the visual novel part of this movie. Movie game.
Yeah,
Visual. Wait. There's a big cutscene blitz. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically. Although the
Yeah.
game does give you the option just to skip it, and I don't think anything changes if you decide to, but there's like a good...
I'll be doing it anyway.
There's a good, like, 10-minute section if you want to read everything
Yeah.
where they have all the dialogue. They're just talking around a campfire, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a godsend of Persona 4 Golden fast forward proportions.
Yeah, there's basically just a dialogue option where let's go to bed, and it's just hanging there the entire time, but if you want to keep on doing dialogue choices, you can. But again, I think this game... The game... Actually, you know, it's kind of interesting, because something that we haven't talked about at all is that this game has an assist mode function, where if you want
Basically
to...
easy modes.
Yeah, where it's not... It's kind of like a weird take on the super guides from various Nintendo games, where the game won't ever beat a level for you, but you can turn on certain cheats, like...
Infinite dash or something.
Infinite dash or infinite stamina. I think there might be some others, but I don't really remember. But what's interesting is that the game, if you try to load it up, will say this game's intended for you to be playing it without assist mode on your first try. Like, the game will put that dialogue
Disclaimer
screen.
there.
Yeah, but they say if you need it, it's here for you. Which, again, I think is a good way to do it, because the game doesn't ever shame you for wanting to put the game onto the easy mode or to the assist mode or whatever. But it gives
that
it
was
to
one
you
of my
as
biggest. That was one of my biggest gripes about the whole Super Tanuki or whatever it was in a lot of the Mario games. It's like you don't need to have it there.
Yeah, or at least it gives you the option to turn it on and off, is the thing. So in a game like, say, Donkey Kong Country Returns, whenever you die enough and the pig starts waving that white flag at you, it feels like it's mocking you, because it's like, oh, this game might be hard. Do you want to play on the easy mode? Like, it's...
Or do you want us to play it for you, defeating the entire purpose of the game?
Yeah, it feels like the game's mocking you, where here, if you pause the game, every time you pause the game, the assist mode option is there. So, like, you know that it exists, but the game won't ever... It's your choice whether or not you want to turn it on or off or not. So,
Yeah, and it never forces you to actually see it.
yeah.
You're talking about the merits of this, and all I can think of is that one stupid-ass article about boss skip buttons. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hate it when they're like, oh, the game should beat it for you, or again, to bring it back to like the Nintendo ones where it just lets you skip the stage. It's like, no, I don't have a problem with easier modes or giving you options to make it easier, but the point of the game is to play it.
Yeah, it's...
If you're not playing the game, then what are you doing it for?
I just couldn't get over the fact that the author of that article didn't seem to know what a difficulty spike actually was.
Yeah, the difficulty spike's only a problem if it feels like it comes out of nowhere, is the
Well,
thing.
a difficulty spike is specifically a spike, not just a peak.
Yeah.
A spike where the difficulty hits that top line where it's distorted, like on
and
an
then it
audio
goes
track.
back down.
Yeah.
No, it's more an expression that it's beyond what the experience can take. It's a distortion. It's not just a rise and challenge. It hits the ceiling and it breaks the flow. It breaks the feel. That's what a difficulty spike is.
Yeah. Like, the next level can be, like, it's like if the next level can be harder, but it's not to the point where you want to throw your controller and turn the game off. It's just harder, you know, because that's what the next level should be.
I am not leaving you behind. Hell no, you better not leave me behind.
The thing that about that article that bugged the crap out of me was that its logic was basically, I don't like boss fights because they're all difficulty spikes. I'm like, no. Jesus.
Okay, so carrying Theo is a little bit annoying, but I love in the B-side where you get extra dialogue for him, and one of his lines is this canon? I don't know.
It's your boy Theo with B-Side Remix.
Also, when you get god damn it.
God damn, I hate that. That happens way too much.
If you get one of the harder strawberries in this section,
Yeah, I'll be getting it.
he says, "Now you're just showing
Now
off."
you're just showing off.
And you can chuck him at these guys too, but he can't ever I think like
Stun them.
he can't ever stun them, which is I think really cool.
No, but he can die though.
He can't die, and he actually has a green explosion, kind of like how you'll have a red or blue one depending on whether you have your dash or not when you die.
Or not. Which is a weird attention to detail that they did for some reason.
Yeah, I think they'll even have you be purple once you get purple hair later. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Also, damn, the sprite art in this game is freaking amazing. I want to say.
Yeah.
That was so close.
I think you can't.
But I survived.
You can throw Theo at that in order to have him.
Yeah, he can press switches.
He can press switches, but you don't need to have him do that there. Like, I think that might have been what's intended, but screw what's intended if it works.
Yeah. Now this game is designed to let you do things your way if you so choose.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, like you don't need to throw him up there, but you can to hit that switch.
Yeah. Like I think what I ended up doing.
Yeah, here's the strawberry, which I'll be getting to.
Oh yeah, that's I think the first time because you have to jump on him,
Yeah,
throw Theo into the thing in order to get it. Oh.
Nope, he fell into the pit.
You killed me, Madeleine, for a strawberry. Damn it!
I like how Madeleine just explodes the moment he dies, like her life force is tied to his.
Essentially.
It's okay. We can respawn however many times we want. We're fine.
Nope.
Now you're frazzled.
Yep.
You die to the same thing twice in the same place. That means you're 3 times.
Okay. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. Now I eventually cut because this is technically optional.
You see, here's the thing though, that there are some rooms in this game where you will die like 15. Well, again, some stages will have death counts in the hundreds. So it's like, okay.
Depending on your skill, of course.
Yeah. So it's like, wow. I love that.
Now you're just showing off.
Now you're just showing. Okay. So. And thankfully, if you like die right before the end, the strawberry there continues to be counted.
Yeah, as long as you get the strawberry, you have it.
Yeah. So strawberry, it's kind of weird. Basically, the strawberry will have like a little tether around it, kind of like a skull coin in Rayman Origins, where you'll usually just have to touch the ground, but sometimes you'll have to get out of the situation safely to. Basically, if you're on safe ground, then you'll usually be counted as keeping the strawberry, pretty much.
Except for the gold ones, which...
Yeah, because the gold ones, apparently, you have to get through the whole...
Beat the stage without dying.
I can't imagine getting through, like, especially B-sides, but even, I'd say...
C-sides I could at least see doing, because they're, like, 3 rooms long.
Yeah.
They'd be hard, but I could do them.
Yeah, with enough practice.
But B-sides, I'm like, yeah, no.
I honestly have a hard time imagining even trying to complete anything past level 2 without dying. All things considered.
I did the first stage of Gold Strawberry just to say I did 1. But that's it. I'm not going for any other Gold Strawberries.
Oh man.
Yeah, momentum.
I forgot that even 2D games can have physics engines now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There we go.
That's
okay, what? the platform stopping through Theo.
That's something you got very, very rarely back in the old days was 2D games with a real sense of physics.
Hi, Sonic.
Yeah, it was mostly just Sonic too. Yeah.
Well, you don't. Well,
Mario sort of has one.
Well,
he doesn't
it's
really
less
have
important.
like an overall physics engine for things though.
Yeah, it's
more
just
but he does carry physics.
He has his own momentum. He has his
Yeah.
own movement physics, but that's pretty much all there was, wasn't it?
yeah,
Other
basically.
than
Yeah,
there
but
are,
maybe the turtle shells.
Yes.
well, yeah, like pretty much like specific objects would have their own. Like for example, if you kick a Koopa shell off of a ledge, it will continue to go forward as it falls. But most things would not. Most games did not have like
Yeah,
a lot of
I mean
realistic
more like
physics outside of it.
interactable physics.
Yeah.
Interactable
Okay.
physics.
Yeah, most of the time it's just like the main character would usually have some sort of physics gathering its movement if the game was good, and otherwise not so much. Like, damn, the idea of getting through that stage with only 30 or so deaths, though, is like, God, I suck.
It's almost like I've been doing these for 23 years.
I mean, I've been playing platformers some for a while, a little bit, I guess, maybe. Okay, never mind. I'm bad.